Hey, everybody, we've got a special announcement. I know we have been talking about an exciting week this week, and we are going to be switching things up a little bit. Steven and I have been working furiously behind the scenes on some exciting new stuff that's going to be happening. You're going to see the fruits of those labors in January, but we've moved up the timeline on getting that work done. So Steven and I are going to be taking that time this week to work on these things. But in the meantime, we're going to be answering some incredible requests that we've had for content with the Hodgetwins and some never-before-seen footage from 2020 and talking about other fun things this week to lead everyone off into having a very Merry Christmas, no matter how much Biden and Kamala want to destroy this country. So we'll see you there.
It is right before Christmas, and everybody is getting ready for that big sleigh ride on the night of the 24th, Christmas Eve. See, all these toys are made by these elves. These elves have that certain knack for toy making, all except for this one misfit.
Herbie! Aren't you finished painting that yet? There's a pile-up a mile behind you. What's eating you, boy?
Well, see, that's the problem, I guess.
What?
I just don't like being a boy.
Oh, well, if that's all... What? You don't like being a boy?
No.
Hermie doesn't like being a boy.
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 You,
Hermie.
Shame on you,
Do you
Hermie.
mind telling me what you do wanna be?
Well, sir, someday I'd like to be a lady.
A lady?
Well, we need one up here. See, I've been studying, and there's hormone blockers and bottom transition surgery and fake...
Now listen, you're a boy elf, and boy elves stay boy. Now get to work. 10-minute break. Not for you. Finish the job, or you're fired.
Why is he such a transphobe? I can't stand wearing men's clothes. Chop my off with gusto, then I might fit in.
We have to go. Oh, don't we have? We have actually to check in with our Los Angeles traffic report. It's a contractual obligation.
Oh, no.
Los Angeles traffic this morning with Thomas Finnegan on the ground. Mr. Finnegan, what do you got for us, sir?
Good morning, Stephen. I'm here on the 405, and I guess...
Oh, no.
Whoa.
Oh, gee. Finnegan.
Thomas?
Can you hear us? Tom. Oh.
Thomas Finnegan, what's going on?
Steven, can you set me up with Gabby?
Yeah, the you mean Gabby.com/Crowder?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to do the paperwork online, but it's asking me for my information.
Yeah. So, people who don't know, they're sponsored. Gabby.com/Crowder. You go, it's free, and actually you enter in your insurance information, and then it shows you where you can get a better rate, because a lot of people get locked into insurance for years and don't realize that there are better rates elsewhere. Yeah.
Okay, I put in all my information, but it's not giving it to me.
It's not giving you what?
It's not giving me the insurance.
Wait, you have to enter in your insurance information to see. Are you trying to get insurance right now, Thomas Finnegan?
I won't go back.
Okay, all right. Let's let Thomas Finnegan go. Yeah. And by the way, for people who don't know, that's Gabby.com/Crowder. You get a free check. I did. I was shocked. Yeah. I was shocked.
That's fantastic.
Right. Well, shocked how much. All it is you just go and you check it, and they don't sell out any of your information. By the way, it's privileged. It's private.
I think I heard that they customers save an average of $900.
It's something ridiculous.
That's wild.
I thought there was a mistake.
Yeah.
Right. It's a pretty easy process.
I looked at it, I was like, really?
That's
just because I've been paying insurance for a very long time, and then they don't give you the discounts because you just get used to paying for insurance. So Gabby.com/Crowder, and because you enter in our URL, you will get it for free, a free check.
Nice.
So Gabby Car Insurance, if you haven't already tried it, I've gone there. I went to the website. I put in my information for my current insurance, went in there, they did the magic behind the scenes, Gabby.com. And when you go to check out Gabby.com/Crowder, now people who are using Gabby, including myself, these are the folks who are saving on average per year $961. I got a speeding ticket the other day and I put it in. I knew my insurance was going up and the savings that I was able to get through Gabby.com is great. Here's the other thing. I know we are all out here fighting big tech. We're all here. Steven's leading the fight. I'm trying to help. And what's important about that is Gabby.com doesn't sell your data. They're not out there like Google, YouTube, all these other companies making money off of your data. They aren't selling it. So make sure to go out and support them. They're supporting us. They're here knowing we're probably going to get canceled at some point. Gabby.com/Crowder. Get your insurance. Save that $961 per average year. Get there.
Here we go, Ash Wednesday. Yeah. Very glad to be with you. We have the Hodgetwins in studio today. How are you, Keith and Kevin?
Got me some cigar action going. Yeah.
Now, which one's Kevin, which one's Keith?
I'm Keith.
Wait, what'd he say? And we have Quarter Black Garrett.
Hey, what's up?
Audio Wade, Half Asian Bill.
Hello.
A great cigar today, New World from AJ Fernandez. That's a really interesting story. A guy who trained in Cuba underneath a guy named Rabena, who made all the cigar wrappers for Castro and the Cohibas. Then the Cuban government started taking 90% of their crop, and this guy went to... Poor guy, he was Lebanese, went to Cuba, then fled Cuba, now he's in Nicaragua. Poor son of a bitch can't catch a break.
Hey, Steven, that's just poor decisions.
It's like someone right now in the United States, a black guy going like, I don't like the way blacks are treated here. I'm going to go to Cameroon.
Well, what? Good luck in Cameroon.
Worse off, go to China. Man, that'd be terrible.
Why do you hate your own people?
I don't hate my own people. They hate themselves.
China sucks. That's fair. He's a self-loathing Chinaman.
Yeah, Chinaman. A bootlicking Chinaman.
Oh, geez. Well, see, now that's just... See, this is one of the few areas where white people can say it. It doesn't have the connotation because black people are the ones who created the Chinaman thing.
I'll correct them when they're wrong, but they got to be wrong first.
So I guess my question of the day to you guys, since we're doing Ash Wednesday, is what do you like on the show when it's non-political? What do you want to see more? We do Mass Mondays. We do Ash Wednesdays. Also, Gerald is not dead. He had a baby. He's going to be back very, very soon.
Single
and
Gerald
so
with no
he'll be
kids.
back,
Very
but he'll
much
still be
alive.
out a little bit for the first couple of months because, babies, they always whine.
They take work.
I don't know. Babies. I'm not entirely sure what happens when you leave the room. I don't know if they still exist. Quantum theory.
I want to see Brendan climbing more poles.
Yeah.
In the middle of the night.
That's the thing.
Well, he did have to pay his way through college, so there's some footage of that somewhere. Let's go first to your questions. You can always send them to louderwithcredit.com/ask. Okay, that's where we get your video questions that we take for Ash Wednesday. But first, actually, we have a pairing of the week, correct?
Pairing of the week, yes. From Carolina Cigar Man, Olivia Milano 5 with Woodford Reserve.
That's a V.
Woodford.
That's a V.
Well,
I don't even know how you misread that.
It's 5.
Like, I could understand if you said
It's
like
a 5.
a U.
Come on.
Or like
Roman numerals,
a
bro.
V.
He's
What?
part Roman.
Oh, Roman numerals.
I thought it was a 5.
You know what? You're
Three-quarters
smarter
Roman.
than me. Here, I was thinking I was getting into quantum theory. I forgot about Roman numerals. Nobody bring out an analog clock. I don't know what. So let's go now. This came to us from louderwithcredit.com/ask a video question.
Hey guys, I have an Ash Wednesday topic for you. I want to hear how each one of you met each other and how you grew that friendship into a quality male friendship. As someone who moved across country about a year ago, just want some examples of how to cultivate relationships like that. Hope to hear this topic discussed. Look forward to smoking with y'all.
Well, man, that sounds so sexual and seductive.
Oh, is it?
You homophobic.
How did y'all meet
Just
each
wait
other?
till people
for
see your
yourself.
jujitsu video. But I think this question should be tossed to Half Asian Bill because he talks about friendship like it's a bonsai tree. Bill?
I do. You have to get very little tweezers, and then you poke them at people, and the ones that don't hit you or yell at you become your friends. No. Look, I'm not from Texas, and I didn't know anyone here. Literally, when I moved here to go to law school, I didn't know anyone. I just went and bought furniture and food, and then I got fat. No, and then I started law school, and then I made friends. But the way you do that is you look for
He's
other
doing
people.
a lot of like foreigner comic jokes today. Like, then I gained weight, I kid, but my wife, she's a bitch. I joke.
So so she's actually not a bitch.
Hey, that was a good save.
No, that was a joke.
I know.
I know that you've read these in Eastern European icebreakers, like a book.
Yeah, exactly. I needed to get those out of my system. But here's what I say. This is what I say you got to do. One, how did we meet? We met through a mutual friend, a friend of your brother's, who's a friend of yours, who's
a genius.
Yeah, who is a friggin' genius.
Who's a genius who you would meet, and at first meeting, and I say this, I absolutely adore you, Jordan. People would think like he's not a genius.
No.
When you first meet him, because he's so blunt.
Yes.
He's so matter of fact. I don't know if you know this. So he was let me, and I want you to continue, but this is a guy who we became friends with. I became friends with I don't know how you became friends with Jordan, but he's the one who introduced you and I because he was the only lawyer friend I knew. I was like, you went to Harvard, and I knew Ben Shapiro at that point couldn't help me with he was no longer practicing law with the Facebook suit.
Was it Saturday?
But, yeah. No, that was when I asked him to flip. Hey, can you flip on that light switch? No,
He's like, no, I can't.
I'll get it.
Well, Steve, I can actually do that.
That's not the reason I would ever want to be demonetized. So this guy Jordan is brilliant. Where he was like a pothead in high school. Was kind of a screw up, and then he met this girl who told him to get his act together. Was like, no, listen, you're going to make something in your life. And he was like, oh, okay. And then I said, okay, you're going to get into Harvard. He was like, all right, fine. And so then he became a straight A student, went to community college, got to UT. Then went to Harvard and graduated cum laude. And in the summer, he found out that he could rebuild Jaguars because most people weren't working on them and they were very unreliable cars. And he made like $6,000 a car. Yeah. And he would be he's a Harvard law grad, would be just as happy being a mechanic. Yep. He's a brilliant person. And you're just like, thank God he's on our side. But if you talk to him, he's just like, hey, how did you? Well, started flipping Jaguars. I made like $36,000 in a month, and now I'm going to Harvard, so whatever.
I just go with the flow.
And I love him dearly.
Easygoing guy.
He's amazing. So I met him and his wife randomly at just a young lawyer's industry professional happy hour, and it just came from randomly talking to people and taking an interest in what they are interested in, finding things to connect over, and then just maintaining that friendship. And and it's especially hard right now in COVID, especially when you're moving across country. But when you go somewhere, don't let anyone tell you that there aren't people like you where you're at. Even in places like California, where we talk a lot about California for good reason.
Ferguson,
but there are anywhere in St. Louis, but you're going to find people that have similar interests as you, that have similar beliefs, that have similar things that whether it's jiu-jitsu or shooting sports or whatever it may be.
Right.
And you just got to go. You got to put yourself out there. It's a numbers game.
Yeah, and then I think as far as how you cultivate those relationships, that everyone kind of values different things. And I'm someone who's never had a lot of friends, but I've always had really a close-knit circle of friends. So what I value kind of above everything else is honesty and loyalty. And what that means is not blind loyalty, but it means that even if someone thinks you're screwing up, we have accountability partners. Gerald is a great example. I think everyone here, we really do have stand-up men here, and we have some great dames who work here too.
Dames.
Loyalty to me means someone who will be loyal enough to make sure that I don't embarrass myself and will be critical of me when needed, and doing so in love, but also have my back. I can't be friends with someone who you feel like is going to be just like bananas in pajamas when they run, just a cloud of themselves when the crap goes down. That for me is a really kind of important metric for close friends. And then you have casual friends where you share interests. And I don't really remember how we met. I was a fan of you guys for a long time because you did the fitness channel.
Yeah.
And I used to, when I was younger, hide it from my parents. And then we had reached out to you a couple of times, and you had an agent who was like, no, they're not interested. And it turns out it never got to you.
Yeah, that was my black manager.
Oh, okay. I don't way to bring race into it.
Well, it's very important. She's black, and she was managing us at the time, and she was
wanted
like,
a career in Hollywood. He's conservative. Stay away from that man.
Yeah. So she wanted us out of politics.
Oh, well.
Yeah. That was a good thing we fired her.
Yeah.
She was a horrible manager.
Well, careful. We don't need any black on black, not crime, but smears today. That's also an epidemic. Then I think Darren, who's a booker on the show, because everyone else was afraid to, similar, probably like you guys having managers, you have to cycle through them because don't do what you're doing if you want to work in this industry. He reached out, I think, to you guys directly, or your new agent, and included a quote that you guys, it's just advice, fellas. You can do whatever the you want to do. That's what you guys used to say.
Yeah, got to call this guy back.
I think you realize that people actually followed your stuff.
Yeah, it was amazing that I had no idea you was watching our stuff. I was
Or-
like, hey, man, you want to go on Steven Crowder?
Or a
He's a big fan.
or a 60-year-old white man and my dad.
Hey, Steve, I gotta give you some props, man. You helped me come out as conservative, man.
That was an act. Well, I remember
Well,
before
you
the
didn't
show,
really. You pushed me out of the
I
closet.
did not. I did not.
It's like when
I'm
you
sounding
teach
like Tommy
somebody
Wiseau.
to
I
swim.
did not.
I did not.
Oh, hi, Keith. No, I had you on and I asked because I thought, and this is true, though, I thought that you guys were more conservative than you realized. Because I said former Marines, business owners. I'd read an interview with you guys in the Rob Report a long time ago, of all places. I must have picked it up at an airport. And I said, these are guys who are probably more inherently conservative. And then when I started speaking with you, I just wanted to reach out. I think at that point, because I just wanted to have you as guests.
Yeah.
I think we started talking, and I did say before, I'm like, and you don't have to discuss anything you're not comfortable with. And then, you got the hate mob after you.
Yeah.
I mean,
Thanks, Steven, because you was advertising right beside our videos.
yeah, because it's like we was getting a lot of messages every day from our black fans, and it's like, oh my God, I lost all respect for you guys. You're on that white supremacist show.
Yeah, I was like, how did they find that video? And I'm looking at my videos, there's a Stephen Crowder advertisement.
On your videos?
Yeah.
Right beside our video.
Yeah.
Man, I don't even know.
Maybe
how
it wasn't an advertisement.
Maybe it's promoted.
maybe
It was suggested.
Yeah.
Back when I was still suggested.
Yeah, I forget the title of the video. We was talking about
days.
Obama.
Yeah. It was Hodgetwins hate Obama. Click here now and please end career in comment section. No, but we've talked about this and talking about loyalty. Now you have, I mean, your conservative twins passed 1 million subscribers, and that happened really quickly.
Yeah.
And you said you guys have fans now who are far more loyal.
Oh man, loyal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we had some good fans before we came out as conservative.
No, they sucked.
Yeah, they sucked. They was broke.
They were terrible.
It was a bunch of liberals.
We was in Florida, right?
liberals.
And it's this older couple, right? It was was it Orlando?
Yeah.
Right after the show, we're doing our meet and greet, and the guy comes up. He's like, "Dude, I gotta get your shirt, man. I'll give you each $250. Just give me my shirt. I'm gonna give it to my wife. Oh, she's gonna really like it, man."
Oh, man.
Right? I didn't know she was there, and then we
Did he show up with a telescope?
so we take our shirts off.
This after our show.
Yeah.
Not like a merch shirt, like the shirt you're
your
wearing.
shirt off your
Yeah,
back.
it's the
The shirt I wore during the show.
Was this a white guy?
It was a 17.
Yeah, it was a white guy.
Oh,
It was-
that's a problem.
He looked like your dad.
Turns out it was.
That's
Darren.
why it was ill-fitting.
And then we take the shirts off. He's like, "Oh man, dude, man, y'all looking good, man." And then his wife said, "Oh my God, they took their shirts off," and she comes running from the back, and we're up on stage. I'm like, "This is going to turn into some cuckold action."
Yeah, and you know what's
Only
funny?
if you guys take part. Like, it's not, I mean, that's on you.
Yeah, you know what's funny though? You know what's funny? Our wives were there, and they was standing there backing like 2 Mexican immigrants. Just like,
To be clear, their wives are actually Mexican immigrants.
Oh, okay.
They weren't just saying.
They were looking like
They
that
were
too.
standing like 2 Mexicans. For people who don't know
Mexicans
your wives, that's
always-
what it sounded like.
Always stand in those Mexicans.
All those Mexicans, got their 2 legs and shit. Mexican legs.
Stephen, how come is it always that your favorite minority people on the show all have Mexican wives?
That is
That is true, isn't
Mine
it?
is.
well, my
Yours
first
is.
wife scarred me.
Yours is.
I said I'd never date another black woman as long as I live.
Well, that's horrible because he can't. There are plenty of nice.
Well, there are some good black women, but the one that she used to beat
out
my
there.
ass. They're out there somewhere. But the one I was actually married before to a black woman. She used to beat my ass.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And you
She used
did,
to, I was like, "Babe, please stop hitting me.
you liked it or you didn't
Get
like
your
it?
shit together."
What, did she have a point?
No, I was
Well,
really
she's-
nice. I was in the Marines at the time.
Okay, yeah.
So I have never.
Sure your wife beats you
dated-
too?
Well, no. I mean, yes, with a sandal, she'll take it off and. hit me in the
okay.
head.
All right.
But
Mexicans
I'm not into Asians because they all look like my mom. So I just can't.
I love how at some point I'm going to be banned from YouTube for stuff that other minorities say. Because the quote is going to be on the next Mashable article, though Steven didn't say it himself on his show, was I would never date an Asian woman because it looks like, it's like it was a guy who was Asian. Well, I don't know why you think that's relevant. You son of a bitch. Go ahead. You're supposed to be good to me. You're my lawyer. You're supposed to protect me.
So good.
All right, okay.
So good. So I will tell you.
You don't like Asians.
Can I say one more thing on the friend thing? Because I do think this is a good question. Like the different people on this particular show and the people behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, like these guys, Wade and Quarter Black, every one of them has something very interesting that they're doing. And if you're interested in other people, you will find the common ground that you have in cool things, like talking about movies, talking about books, talking about whatever it may be, even just, Wade and I talking about kids, like, all that kind of stuff, right? And if you can reach out to people and be willing to put yourself out there, you're going to run. I have had people who are like, I literally do not like anything about you.
Yeah.
And I actually appreciate that. Like, okay, great. I'm going to stop. We're trying to talk to you.
I remember that conversation in the green room 4 minutes before air. Yeah, you don't need to jog my memory.
Yeah, it was not that long ago. So, that's what you got to do. If you're going to put yourself out there, even in a new city, find someone, go to a church, go to an organization, go join a sports league, go down to the shooting range, whatever it may be. Yeah. You're going to start talking to people. You're going to find people, and you're going to be surprised.
Yeah, like you with a local ping pong hall.
And it's a tough time right now with the COVID going on. I'm sure that it's like an odd
Bill
experience
started it.
moving to a new spot. Yeah, it is.
I wonder how Bill Clinton met Epstein.
Common interest, guys.
I don't think there's a big question mark behind that mystery door.
You like little girls, so do I. You got an island. Let's go. I want to get sucked off.
Okay. What were you saying there, Wade, before it was taken from 60 to 0?
I was just saying it is a tough time to make new relationships with COVID and everything, but and depending on the area where you are, some things are probably open. Figuring out a new place. I mean, places where people gather and meet are usually closed right now. So
that's true.
I recognize that would be a tough thing now. But yeah, any kind of advice on that, and maybe we could approach
Speaking
it.
Speaking of which, the cigar fan is on, right? A little bit?
No,
it's not. Speaking of tough, we have
a
cigar fan that sucks out this whole room in about 30 seconds, and but if you don't turn it on, you get cancer.
And then I get fired.
So no, and also the problem too with the COVID is also the mask, because the second I put that on, I want to break stuff.
Yeah.
Because no one's going to do anything. I'm just going to go, I just want to rob and pillage.
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Got a mask? Give me all your money. It's an instinct.
I think that probably the people who I can think of, if you were obviously committing your crimes in tandem, where a mask would be the least effective in concealing your identity, would be the Hodgetwins.
Yeah. Also, you're wearing merch.
He was wearing his own merch. He had the 17
Give me your money. Yeah. Are you the Hodgetwins? Nah, no Hodgetwins action. I think you're the Hodgetwins. Yeah. Garrett, and so as far, I don't know with that. I mean, there are some cigar lounges that are open that are actually really still pretty good places, and you meet a lot of good people. There are some places where you can do some sporting events, places that aren't. I really hate that the church has really just sort of backed down a lot of places where it's like, if you can be out in the streets and protest, if the church is so terrified about the optics of doing it inside, you can do church in the park. I've done that before.
Well, and the churches that are meeting are really growing. Right, like a lot. They're over capacity right now. The people who are meeting. So maybe find a church in your area that is meeting, a sports league that is meeting.
You could find a way.
It's got to be tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a will. There's a way.
Well, there's a will, and then also there's Grinder. So, and I remember Quarter Black Hair. The way I met him was he came in at that point. We needed an editor, and we've talked about this before, where Quarter Black wasn't. Editing wasn't his strong suit in comparison to people who we have, who are like more like technical editors. But we really like. No, I'm not trashing your edit. But come on, do you really think you can do what Brendan does?
Oh no, he's a magician.
No, he's a magician. He's like Chip Douglas with the remote control. But ask him to warm up spaghetti noodles, and like, I
just can't do it. I don't
It's
know.
just a house fire waiting to happen.
Some people have certain skills.
But he had a great attitude. He was great at doing a lot of things and making sure that he got in there. And I also when we did a Crowder Confronts later on at the Open Minds, this Democratic State Convention. If you go back and watch that video, you see Garrett saying like, "All right, let's go." He's like he's like a Bo Evil, just like ready to go. And I was like, okay, well, let's move him into a bigger, a more responsible role, where he has more under his purview, and he's really grown into it. And I think if you expect the best of people, and this is a big problem I have with the Democratic Party, is if you tell people they're not good enough, and you tell them that the system is stacked against them, then why try? Whereas I think that if you do, and of course you have to, this is why I say that first sort of litmus test, the loyalty, the character, the honesty, because if you don't have that, then the rest of this doesn't matter. And you can be kind of friends with those people if like your kids are in the same activity, golden swimmers, whatever it is that kids do, little goldfish thing. Right. But you're not going to actually have them in your corner. But once you have that, if you actually expect more of people, you kind of speak them and treat them to the level that they can be, maybe they aren't there now, usually good people, honest people, will rise. And I do think that's an important thing right now that we don't really do a whole lot. We tell people that you can be anything you want to be, and just believe in yourself, which I don't even believe. I believe that, of course, as a Christian, you're not all you need, that you do need God. But then these same people who say all you need is self-belief, and they say also all you really need is to tear down all of this country's institutions, policies, offices, otherwise you can't make it. And it's the same thing with friendships. Speak people and treat people to the level that you want them to be, if they're not there yet.
I think the first thing that maybe you noticed whenever I first came here is I actually cared. You know, like it was in a time where it was like you were really stressed out about a lot of different things, and then there was one time something bad happened. It was lawyerly things, and you were like stressing about it. I was like, hey man, are you okay? What's going on? I like sent you a
no, you
verse
actually
and
care.
stuff, and I care. You know, So you got to do that. You got to stretch out. You're caring for other people, and they'll come to you.
Yeah, that's true. Except that time that you were drowning in my back pool, and I laughed.
I mean, you can't not laugh. Though.
Took out my
I don't put that against you.
No.
It was funny.
Help. No, actually, Kerry, no, that is a big thing. And remember, we had other people who with Golden Ticket. We had a guy who came in who would leave for smoke breaks, like cigarette breaks.
I heard about this. Yeah,
and he was
it was before me.
I got a great idea. What if we do this thing like Jurassic Park? And like he basically would like pitch a Michael Bay film.
These ideas.
And they'd be like, oh, okay, how are you gonna do it? He'd be like, I gotta go get a Marlboro.
I'm gonna mull it over.
So you didn't have a tough act to follow. You've flourished since, but initially it was just anyone came like, oh, thank God.
Looks like you got it.
Pieces for me.
Yeah, right in there.
Pieces.
I did it.
Millions of pieces. Pieces for me. Millions of pieces. Explosion noise. Millions of pieces. Pieces for me. Yes. Millions of pieces. Pieces for me. Jackass. Millions of pieces. Pieces for me. Yes.
All right, Spartan Armor Systems, guys, they have gone out on a limb to sponsor this show before we get canceled. But SpartanArmorSystems.com, they're having their biggest promo ever. This Christmas, the 12 Days of Tactical giveaway. They're going to have 12 prizes over $5,000. 12 orders will be refunded, 20% off site-wide. And with that promo code Crowder, you're going to get free Betsy Ross hat and morale patch. This runs from the 11th to the 23rd. I mean, look at this thing. This thing can stop so much. It's not going to stop the glitter bomb that's going to come from every package and bag and card you get this season, but it protects you from the things you really need to. So make sure to go to SpartanArmorSystems.com and use that promo code Crowder for your free Betsy Ross hat, morale patch, 20% off, and these 12 prizes during the 12 Days of Tactical giveaway.
So, hopefully it helps on the friendship question.
Yeah,
we have one more question from, again, you can send your questions to lotofcredit.com/ask for the video questions, but I think we have some tweets as well. I should say, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed, because subscriptions don't really mean a whole lot, and do consider joining Mug Club because you get an extra 45 minutes every day with these shows, and it's also the only thing that allows these shows to exist, period. You notice there aren't a ton of ads. We're not reading for every, gold and bed sheets and scalp treatments and shaves, dollar bills that shave you, because we are actually sponsored not by federal grants, but viewers like you. We have another question, right?
So they asked, talk about how to go about life without being political. Agree to disagree? Is that possible anymore?
No.
I mean, this is the wrong show to ask. I don't know why you're asking this show.
Here's the thing. I think agree to disagree. Having a civil disagreement. There's a difference between a civil disagreement.
Argument.
Yeah, there's a civil disagreement and agree to disagree. I don't really, you agree to let live. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as far as
Yeah,
we just agree to disagree and we're going to be best buds, that's pretty tough to do. I don't think it's possible. People used to say, don't talk religion and politics. The two things that matter most. Now, there are times where it's appropriate and there are times where it's inappropriate. If, for example, you don't need to chew someone's ear off about politics if you're watching your kid's soccer game. But as far as this relates to our question earlier in fostering relationships that matter, I just can't see in 2020 how you could have that trust in someone if at the very least you don't even know where they line up politically. You have to know at that point. So then before you can agree to disagree, you have to know where you disagree. And so for me, I have more respect and probably more trust for someone who would tomorrow join the Soviet Red Army than someone who's like, I don't know, I just stay out of politics. It's well, then you're just going to stay out of any confrontation, which means I can't trust you.
Well, and slowly but surely, politics will start to care about you. So you've got, you can walk out, and if you're not wearing a mask in the middle of Austin when we were there, it's like,
you get choked out.
You get what, $2,000 fine?
Yeah, $2,000
So it's like,
fine.
it's like, well, I'm not really a political person. Well, if you put on a mask or don't put on a mask, you are doing something
come for
political.
you.
Have you ever written a check to the IRS?
Right, yeah.
Do your kids go to public school?
Yeah.
Right? Do you care about lives? Do you care about abortion? Does that matter to you? Do you think you should be able to go to church? You know, if these things, for someone to say those things don't matter to me, or what matters more to me is avoiding all confrontation, so I just don't talk politics, that means it's someone who really doesn't value their values, for lack of a better word. Or someone has never thought of these issues. And that's dangerous too, because then all of a sudden they think they've discovered something new and they go off half-cocked and they don't really, and I've seen that too, where people had never really thought about politics before. And they never really even thought about what mattered to them before. And then all of a sudden they think, I've got it figured out, and they get half the information. That's not someone you can trust
and they run
either.
with it.
Or there's some figure that comes out and it's like, oh, this is the person. Maybe it's Bernie or something like that. Or
Right.
even Ron Paul, and it's like we get
even
excited.
Trump.
Yeah, or Trump, and we get excited about some figure and whatever he says, and you're not really able to
Not the
sort through.
principles.
Yeah, sort through what the values are, and that's where the heart is. It's
I get excited about hidden figures because I don't know. I don't know which one's from Mama. Who was in that? I don't know. Let's continue. What were we about to say?
Is that the one with the NASA astronauts?
Yeah, the black lady astronauts, the black space people.
Great.
No, they were the mathematicians.
Mathematicians.
They were
They
not.
were real unsung heroes.
You know what we did was we sent the white guys up there because they were expendable.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of them.
The Expendables.
Yeah, the story was told where they were, it was like, well, white guys were the ones who got all the credit. And they probably went to those black women and were like, hey, by the way, would you like to go into space? Like, what's it involved? They're like, well, you could just crash, it could completely burn apart when exiting the Earth's atmosphere.
Or you could sit here and do some math.
That's why people shit.
I do long division
From this atmosphere.
Around here only, actually.
with gravity.
You know, those ladies, they were very grateful for staying in America.
Yeah.
Or those astronauts, they couldn't wait to get out.
Yeah,
out of the
I don't know
atmosphere.
how many people of color were involved with Sputnik.
Probably few.
Yeah, probably very few. It's a little bit monotonous. What are you about to say? Go ahead.
I was going to say, and it also comes to thinking about the trust question is really important because we've talked about this question before about, if you were going to date someone or marry someone that has, widely differentiating moral views or, beliefs and that kind of thing, and how difficult that can be because you need trust. But, by the same token, like I don't go roll up to Quick Trip and start quizzing the guy behind the counter before I buy a Monster. And so, like you can work with people in certain settings, you can interact with people, you can be at a ball game, you can be, at a movie theater or whatever, and not have to engage in all that stuff and force everyone to go through. And I know people like that. They'll go and they'll say, well, I got to ask everyone there if they are Methodist. And if they're not Methodist, then, if they read the Bible, then they're not Methodist. So we definitely, so we want to make sure. And I go, come on, guys, we're in the country. The country is built on having people who are other. Yeah. And sure, maybe you're not going to engage in a conversation with everyone, and maybe you're not going to trust your kid or your marriage to someone that has those kinds of views, but you can still interact with them. And look, this is the thing that we always have to combat in different ways, is the idea that conservatives are the uncaring party, right? Or the uncaring set of morality, when in reality, we are the ones dealing with the reality of you have to make hard decisions and hard choices, and those can be sticking with people who have the same morality if they're coming into a certain level of trust.
It's good that you put it that way. I think it's important that it's the idea, because I think it was it David Brooks, I believe, who wrote the book Who Really Cares, and it was about, listen, it's overwhelming. If you look at the people who are the most charitable, red states and then Christians. That is what defines someone, and not just giving to churches, but also giving to charities that aren't their church. It's not even close. The least charitable people tend to be poor liberals. So you get middle class red state, Christian conservatives give the most, and then you get wealthy people give the most, wealthy liberals give more than middle class liberals. So there's this whole, you can see these statistics, you can find them online. But it stands to reason because, listen, we don't believe that a centralized government is effectively a form of charity. We don't believe we've thrown more money at education. We've thrown $22 trillion at the war on poverty. It hasn't worked. But we can see in our neighborhood directly, like my wife and I give to a small church where we got married. And the reason why is, listen, our tithe makes a difference there. And we can see that there was a lady who had her roof ruined during a big storm up in northern Michigan. And our tithe, along with everyone else's tithe, went to fixing that roof. We can see how it serves the community.
Yeah, direct.
As opposed to writing a check to Washington and hoping for the best, right? That kind of spray and pray mentality. So it is important when people understand that they have to take it upon themselves to help their fellow man, and not the next guy will do it. That's how you end up with Joe Biden, who gives less than 1% to total charity. The least charitable presidents ever. Barack Obama, least charitable vice president ever, Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And then you have Bernie Sanders, who, to the absolute decimal, right? Like he was in Hidden Figures doing math for the spaceship. When he tips, it's 18.5%. And that's indicative of someone who's a
Scrooge
stickler.
level.
That's indicative of someone who really has a problem parting with money. And I think that's a problem statistically, it's undeniable. You see that more on the left.
Let's clarify. Only parting with his own money.
Yes, only parting with his own money.
Not your money.
No, absolutely not.
Well, and I think tolerance, we're finding out, is not a current left-wing value. So I think the question assumes that there can be a certain amount of tolerance, a certain amount of like difference of opinion, and we're okay with sitting around with people who disagree, and that's okay. But that is sort of, at least right now, almost exclusively a conservative value. The people who are okay with having multiple
even though
perspectives
that's
in the
what they
room.
put on their letterhead.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, we're tolerant.
Yeah.
They're a bunch of bigots.
Yeah. To coexist, even though the C wants to eat all the other letters.
Yeah. Hodgetwins, when y'all went from the,
that's because he can't tell you
into the that's correct. That's correct. I mean, I heard what you said, but I wasn't looking, so now I don't know which one is what. No, but when you've seen people, and you've seen this across, Ariel Scarcelli, who was on the show, when she came out and said, "Hey, I'm conservative. Like I've been around progressives." Yeah, and and seeing folks who have been put into a box. Like if you have a certain characteristic, you definitely, like Joe Biden said, you got to be in a certain party, you're voting a certain way. But when you have talked to folks who were adamantly progressive or whatnot, and then you were like, hey, I'm conservative, how did those conversations go?
Not good. I mean, they're illogical. You can't have a rational discussion with somebody who's progressive.
You try to ask anybody on the left or progressive or whatever they like to call each other today. Ask them about any issue, they will never answer your question, and they will rationalize. They won't even answer their own reason why they're conservative, why they're progressive, or
they just tell you I'm progressive because the right is racist and they're all old white men.
Yeah,
that's it.
Usually the conversation don't get too far.
Right.
You're racist.
Well, but that's changing dramatically. I don't have this in front of me, but I think we can probably grab an overlay at some point and probably do a segment on this. Generation Z, so younger black people. This just came out recently, a study compared to millennials or baby boomer generation, over 60. People who are under the age of 30, black people, are far more amenable to the idea of a Republican president or that the Republican Party is open-minded to them. It was something like 30-something%. It was a high number, whereas black people over 60, it was in the single digits that they believed that the Republican Party could be their home. And so people like you who really stood to lose something. I've talked about this quite a bit. There are a lot of, and not all of them, but I know a few, but there are some really great conservatives out there who also happen to be black, and there are some where it's just their stick is just like, it's almost like a black conservative Chris Rock, like, black people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you guys actually stood to lose something because you had this fitness brand, you had been out for a long time, people were familiar with you, and you decided it was worth taking that risk, and that's something that I applaud, and I think that moves the needle a whole lot more than someone who's never had a career until they started wearing a Trump hat as a black person.
That was our major reason coming out conservative. I want to show black people that, hey, it's okay to think different. You don't have to think like everybody else just because you're supposed to think a certain way because of your skin color. You're free to think however you want to think. You're an individual. Just because the color of your skin don't mean you have to be a Democrat.
That's the problem for black people. They think because they black, they have to think a certain way. They victimize each other, and I was like, I don't think like you niggas. You guys are actually insane. This is the best country in the world. There's millions of immigrants trying to get here. There's hundreds losing their lives just to get here, and you're complaining this is an evil place. Tell you what, I'm gonna say something a white supremacist is gonna tell you. Go back to where you came. If you don't like it here, which is a logical question, that's why white people ask it. Well, why are you here?
If you don't like it.
There's a lot of. You could go to Africa. Y'all all gonna look just alike. You're gonna like it there.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I got one point I want to say. Like when we came out the closet, right, and our fan base totally changed.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 70-30 white and everything else. Now it's like 99 white.
Yeah.
Right.
And all the black people that show up at our shows, the black dudes, their wives are white.
And I remember I got this message on Facebook. Hey, I just came across you guys. I saw y'all were black comedians, and I'm black, so I wanted to come out and support. And she said, as soon as I get to your show, it looks like a Klan rally because everybody's white.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the problem with a lot of black people. They think with their skin, everything is based around race. Everything.
That being said, next time your marquee shouldn't include a burning cross. You can't. It's like a fly zapper for a Klansman.
Like a Klan rally or a Klan rally or a Childish Gambino show.
Yes.
Either one.
Yeah. I was just gonna.
This is America. You don't need that there. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So I was just gonna say that the insulting the people who disagree with you, or saying that everyone who disagrees with me is X or is some kind of horrible person, is the sign of a dying worldview. It's a sign that you're on your heels. You don't have anything else. You can't defend what you actually believe. It's just a matter of insulting the other guy.
Well, and you hear even with the people say, well, go back. That's what Hodgetwins said. No, they said it's illogical. They said it's hard to argue with because it's an illogical response, which is what we heard from black gentleman named King at our last Change My Mind, where he said, I hear what you're saying, but you're talking about facts. He said, I'm coming from a place of emotion. And I was like, Are you writing a W up on the scoreboard? Which is not even when I was here. I was here to talk. Like you just totally said, like I am not capable to actually discuss this without appealing to emotion and rejecting facts. And that's why it's hard to be apolitical today. Because if you have people who think that their opinion is just as, and of course everyone can have an opinion. Obviously, everyone has that right. But the idea that everyone's opinion is just as valid when it's someone who willingly offers up, mine is solely based on emotion, and it's just as valid as yours based on history, on data, on factual information, on current events, right? You have third-party sources. But both of our opinions are valid because I feel a certain way and melanin. No, that's why it's hard to be apolitical, because people now assume some moral superiority when they really haven't earned it, regardless of skin color. All right, we're going to continue these conversations. I have some more questions for the Hodgetwins. Again, if you are not a Mug Club member, please do consider joining up, because there's a lot that we talk about over there at Mug Club that we could not talk about here on the YouTube. But for right now, YouTube, it's time for you to urinate outward.